Beautiful. Okay. So as I mentioned, we're going to everybody pick a color that makes you happy, a color that makes you feel calm. And all we're going to do is when I ask you to, when we're say focusing on the left leg, you're just going to fill that left leg slowly with color, almost like somebody's pouring it in at your toe or pouring it in at your hip. It's just a variation. And you'll see why you do it in a minute. So starting with the left leg, picture the whole left leg and notice where do you, no, let's start with the pouring. Start it at the top of the leg or at the toe or at the knee, wherever you want, wherever is visually great for you. And it's just a slow pour. And notice, is it filling the leg from the ground up for the whole length of the leg? Or is it starting at the top and working its way down, or vice versa, at the toe working its way up? Just notice what you chose. And maybe add a little wonder, like, oh, I wonder why I thought of it that way. The liquid is very calming, it's very soothing. And as you do it, as you're filling, notice what parts are easy to picture filling up and what parts might be not so easy to picture filling up. Or if there is or isn't, maybe there isn't any parts. Notice that you're really filling the whole leg. So it's going right out to the edges of the thighs, to the top, to the bottom of the leg. It's not just filling the bone down the center, it's really filling the whole leg. And notice while you do this, what is it doing to you, to your brain, to your sense of self? What is filling that leg up, making you feel like? And an even clearer question is, what is filling that leg up, make that leg feel like? And sometimes if people pick a color that they really like, it actually translates into making that leg feel really good. And notice, as an example, that Katerina has little SI joints. See if you can really make sure that color really, really fills and rubs around in that area. And I'll give you a few more seconds to finish filling up if you haven't yet. And then notice, again, now that one leg is full and one leg is empty, what does the full leg feel like to you in comparison to the other leg? And a lot of times people say it feels actually good, but it's just more prevalent in my brain. There's just more of it. Sometimes it even sort of glows a little bit. There's just more to it. Make sure the toes are all full. It's a really good way of mapping the leg in the entirety. And this is a lovely thing to do before bed. And trust me, you might not even finish because you might just fall asleep, which is always a good thing, the point of going to bed. And then go ahead and do the other leg. And again, noticing how you fill it up, the actual how you've chosen to do it. See if maybe you noticed on the last leg that, oh, I forgot my inner thigh, and so you're learning from the other leg. oh, I got my inner thigh right away this time, because I remember I noticed that I missed that right away at the beginning. So always learn from the opposite leg. You don't presume it's going to be the same, but take the knowledge you garnered from the first attempt and put it into the second. And as you're finishing up that leg, make sure it goes into the toes and into the ball of the foot, the arch, the heel, the Achilles, the whole foot, back of the knee. Notice, this is a big notice. Where did you end the line of your leg at the top, where it connects to the torso? Does everyone know what I mean by that?
Yep.
Perfect. So if you did a lot of people do where their line of their underwear would be. And some people don't. Some people go up to the head of the femur and sort of into the pelvis a little bit. Some people go right, like kind of low, not really low into the thigh, but sort of halfway between the knee and the thigh. And what I want you to do, even if you did this to begin with, redo it. I want you to take both legs, the color of both legs, and I want you to add it a little tiny bit, almost like you're covering the head of the femur into the pelvis. I really want the legs to go into the torso, because they do. The head of the femur is not like at the top of the leg. It's in the pelvis. And a lot of times when we do that, when we include the torso into that, not the torso, but the lower part of the pelvis, it integrates the legs in vis-a-vis our consciousness and what we're doing into the fact that the legs are part of the pelvis. And then fill up the rest of the pelvis. So the rest of the lower belly and up to the, say, let's just go for up to the belly button. Front, back, sides. So picture approximately where your belly button would be at the back if it went right through. And because we're doing both sides at the same time of the pelvis, notice if one side is easier to fill than the other. Notice if you did, if you didn't notice, that's okay, but notice maybe what side you chose to fill first. Or if you chose to fill from the groin up or from the waist down. Just notice, notice, notice. Notice if you're really getting the whole buttock of both sides. Because sometimes we don't recognize how wide our buttock, our pelvis can be in the back and in the front. And if you have to touch anywhere to sort of like say, hey, color needs to come over here, that's fine too. And then I want you to continue up from where you left off, the belly button back and front, and do the rest of the torso. And you might as well, no, don't, include the neck, please. So from the waist to where the head, sort of bobblehead, just attaches. Again, notice if you can, what side you did first, or if you filled again from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. Notice if you can really feel under the armpits, because that's part of the torso, around the back, the side back ribs that are close to the arm. You have width there. Even if it's not touching the ground, there's width there. Fill it up. Fill the breasts. They're part of you. Just to the best of your ability. And if you notice, I can't do that, or No frustration, just add a little enthusiasm and giggle, because it's a really good learn to know what parts of you are not quite as clear as other parts of you are. Feel the clavicles, the sternum, the throat. And there's loads of oxygen in this, so you're just all okay. And then go on into the head and fill the whole head, back, front, cheekbones, nose, ears. Notice, did you feel the skull behind the ears? All those little parts that we don't see very much. The back of the neck, too, from the last one. The jaw. A lot of times we are less mapped in areas we don't see very often. So a lot of times when I'm working with someone, they'll learn to soften their chest before they'll learn to move the vitality spot in the back. And sometimes that just comes down to we don't see ourselves from the back very often. We see ourselves from the front in a mirror all the time. On video, I'm seeing a total face front part of me on this video. The lips, the skin and tonus above the lip, between the nose and the lip, the eyes, the eyelids. Easy peasy. And then just for timing, I want you to go down both arms. And just doesn't have to be drip, drip, drip slow, but you don't have to flush it in either. Take your time. Especially if you're doing two at the same time. Notice if doing this maybe has let you melt a little bit more into the floor. Remember, under the armpits, notice where the arms, the shoulder, the top of the bone of the top part of the arm goes right into the torso. Feel it, bring it as a team together. Down into the fingers. And notice there's going to be a ton of times that you do this that you jump all over the place, doing the top of the arm. Oh, wait, my elbow. Oh, wait, did I do my thumb? That's perfectly fine. We don't do this very often, so we probably aren't amazing at it. Just go back and fill it in. And if you think, well, I think I already did this part, oh, well, that's fine. And after you've finished your arms, take 10 seconds to just feel yourself now in comparison to where you were when you entered the lesson. Feel if you can melt more into the floor. You can let go of some unnecessary contractions, maybe in the belly, in the chest, in the hip flexors, in the sciatic, in the feet, the hands and the wrists, shoulders, face, even the eye sockets. Let the eye sockets go. And then take your time, roll to whatever side you wish, and come up just to sitting. Already a better roll, Maggie, than I've ever seen you do. And if you have something, we're not going to be on the, well, yeah, just grab it. And all I want you to do is sit in whatever is comfortable for you. Yep. Katerina is like, and out. Yeah. If one is, if two is, but you don't have to do feet here. This is, unless that's incredibly comfortable for you, then fill your boots. But you're a better person than I am if that's comfortable for you. And all I want you to do, I'm going to turn a little to the side so you can see me. And we're just going to very, very briefly soften and roll our pelvis to 6 o'clock. And come up, and it doesn't have to be big. Remember, especially the first few, small. Soften the clavicle. It really is a melt. It's like the two ends are melting together. And come up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you see the seam of my top, do notice that you see how it is definitely rolling. It's just small. And then it's rolling back up. So it's not just in here. I had a gentleman today learning 6 and 12, and he started doing pull the belly in and out. Pull the belly in. Now there's a little bit of a tiny bit of a rock, but he wasn't really doing the meld. And the knees will move if they're crossed, and then come back up. And now just do the opposite. And remember, it's small because you're sitting cross-legged. Push the belly out. The chest just lifts slightly and come back. And really notice for yourself, is it coming from my pelvis? Is my pelvis rolling? Am I letting that belly drop right out? And if you're not, one of the reasons might be is you're not high enough on a pillow. Because I got to be perfectly honest, if I was here, I mean, I can do it, but I can't go too far forward. I'm attached quite tightly there with the actual surgery, so I get a lot more mobility on something like this. So make it easy for yourself. I would this is, and it has to be something that's hard, not hard, but it can't be like a soft pillow that's just going to give away to your weight. It has to be something that is like keeping you up. Very nice. Very nice. Now, I'm going to ask us to bring an arm in. And the trajectory of the arm matters. So all I want you to do is for this time, I want you to round to 6 o'clock. And then I want everybody to take their right arm. And when they go to 12, the arm goes up the same amount as what the body did. And I think I have to turn back down to the side. So the arm goes up, relative amount. And then you can go down if you really want, and that would mean the arm would slide a little bit down. Then push the belly up. Because it's these ribs, when I say relative amount, it's these ribs that are lifting the arm up. Does everybody see that? So if this part of the spine, back and front, this part of the body is locked, say from the bra strap, bra bottom up, the arm would only lift up that high. Because it's these ribs that lift the arm higher. And that means that spine, that vitality spot between the shoulder blades has to be able to go in, has to be able to arch. Just slightly, not the same amount as here, but it can arch a lot more than we think it can. So does everybody understands that the arm does not do this? Yes, you get what I'm saying? Perfect. Try that once or twice with the right arm and see. Use your color that you just did and move that color in space. You're going to have a floating pink arm if that's the color you used. And notice where you're thinking. So I was just noticing sort of like here. Now I'm going to be really honest. It was more like here. I was not thinking that much about these ribs under here because this was the active side. So this time I'm going to include the color over here and see if that helps lift the arm. Because there's more of me working, even though I'm one-sided. Does that make sense to everybody, what I'm saying? So try it again. Make sure the chin is soft because the chin only goes up as far as the arm goes. It doesn't do this. Because if it does that, we got a lot of tightness happening through here. Now, next time you do it, I want you to change the trajectory of the arm. If my arm was going quite far forward, straight forward, so now I'm going to take it a little bit out to the side, say just 45 degrees. And I'm going to notice what changed, what parts of me, what parts were pink and what parts were not in the picture. We don't have our feet to push through yet. So what parts? And notice it will change your ribs, your belly, push that belly out. If that belly doesn't go out, you're going to get real stuck. Very good. Very good. And just rest in sitting for a second. And notice the difference between the two sides. Even though I absolutely included my thought of this area, I still have to say that this part of me is more prevalent in my brain. Is that true for everybody else, or is it different for you? I feel like this arm is like 7 times longer than this arm. Now try it the other direction, and I want you to do it on your own. So you're going to do a couple straight forward. And notice, do you know what straight forward is? I did notice last time that a couple of you were out here for straight forward. There's a difference between this movement and this movement, because it's very much different for the ribs and the belly and everything. Think of your back, the opposite side of your back. What's it doing when it comes straight forward? Is the pressure is more coming from here, but the second the arm goes out to the side, the pressure is more from sort of a bit of an angle. Notice the opposite part of you. Notice the opposite part of you. So if the left arm is going out, what are the ribs on the right doing? Are they just sitting? Because these ones, I mean, obviously think of the ones underneath the arm that's lifting for sure, and the clavicles and everything, but don't forget about the opposite side. And after you've done 1 or 2 variations in one direction, go just a slightly bit out. But I really want you to notice how much is your back, how much are you rocking? Notice how my knees are going up and down. Now they're going to do a lot more of that because I'm sitting high. Notice, just for poops and giggles, lady, flip the arms over. Flip the arm over. See, does that do something different? Won't make a huge difference, but it'll make a difference. The bones are in a different trajectory. And notice if something is easier for you. Notice, is this side way easier than the other side, or vice versa? Has something to do with if your legs are crossed, it has something to do with which leg is in front.
Did we switch arms?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my fault. Other arm. So just do a couple back and forth. But if you're sitting cross-legged, even if you're cross-ankled, switch legs. And see if the side, see what side is easier for you. It's very clear which side is easier for me when I cross my legs. It's definitely the side that's in front. Because if this side is in front and I do this, it's still fine, but I find this easier. It's just the way that we're sitting. And everybody lie down and take a moment break. And notice how much more right away, how much more contact you have, but also notice, is your spine and back and sometimes arms, notice what is more prevalent for you right now than it was before the last time you lied down. Notice, Katerina, your foot is in an entirely different place according to my screen.
Okay.
It's like almost out of the picture, and it was not like that before.
The right foot?
Yep. The left foot's not even in the screen. So there's
Well,
been
lie down with my legs. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even there. That's why it's so different. I'm like, why is your foot so prevalent in the screen? It's because it wasn't, you had them in standing. So just those tiny, subtle, but thoughtful, slow movements with no serious goal of I must stretch this, I must stretch that. Katerina can now lie down with her legs straight. I'm seeing way more breath in Maggie's belly and lower ribs. Kathy, your torso looks entirely different. Your lower ribs and belly are there. I don't know if feels any different to you, but you look entirely different in your lower torso.
Yeah, I feel a lot flatter, and
Yes.
lower ribs are much closer to the floor.
Perfect. Please remember that doing the pelvic clock in sitting and standing, you can do this while you're sitting and watching television. You don't have to add the arm. You can picture the arm. And if you want to add the arm, who cares if everyone thinks you're crazy? But you can do this. Remember what my soul teacher, the woman I love so much, said to me, you'll never be bored at a cocktail party again. Because you can very slowly and subtly, even in your imagination, do the pelvic clock, and it will relieve sciatic, SI, belly. It will relieve pain. Obviously, especially when you do them with the 9 essentials in mind. Movement with attention, slow, variation, subtle. The energy, and I'm not sure I'm in love with this word, but the way you were all doing the last 2 or 3 variations was beautiful. The quality was beautiful. Now, roll to your side. If you can, roll to the other side, unless, of course, you're going to bang into a piece of equipment or a piece of furniture. Push the belly out, bring the arm.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. No problem. You a little bit sore, Maggie, or is something in the way?
No, but my right.
Right, your right hip. Yep. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, my artificial hip.
I'm going to see if this lesson is like, that's why it was when you said SI, Katerina, and stuff. This is a beauty. Okay, you're going to lean on, how you doing, Kathy? Kathy's like, come in. Take your time. There's absolutely no rush. You can hear instruction. You're a smart girl. You don't have to be doing it right at the same time. I would like you to Bodoom. If you want to rest, take a rest. You cannot learn something when you're going, all you're going to do. Sorry?
Are you on the?
I still am, but you don't have to be.
Oh, well.
I prefer it.
Yeah.
I prefer it because I find I can get a little more movement just because the attachment is so tight. And whatever. I prefer it. I've really changed my whole level of must be done this way. So all I want you to do is besides get ready to birth something, which is what we all look like. Beautiful, Maggie. I would not have seen, Maggie, the ability to be able to move your legs out. Very good. It was here. So all I want you to do is push through whatever foot, your right foot. Let's stay together as a team. And just push the belly out and roll a little tiny bit over to this hip socket. So maybe a piece of paper, maybe, could come out. So you're going to push the belly out and come back down. The knee will go that trajectory, not this trajectory. So the knee stays up and sort of push the belly out. That's as far as you need to go. And come back. Does everyone at least know what the hell I'm talking about, whether you can do it or not?
Your knee stays which way?
Knee stays, it sort of goes that way. If it goes anywhere, it gets longer. It does not go down.
Oh.
Because I want the rotation to be in here. If the knee goes down, you don't have to have much rotation in the hip.
Okay.
But I mean this big, ladies, not just a little and down. A little, but push the belly out and down. Because if you hold the belly in, you rigidify the pelvis, which means this part of the chest will not move. And look at notice how that shoulder is slightly disappearing. I'm looking over here a little bit, and then I come here. I'm thinking long spine. I'm not glued to the television, to the computer, and doing it just in my belly. I'm pushing the belly out. I'm allowing myself to turn. And come back. And then try it with the other side. Push through the foot first. If you don't push through the foot, you can go with gravity or you can go without gravity. I'm here to tell you, gravity can kick your butt. That's nice, Maggie. Now I'm here to tell you something. So you're pushing the other way out. I'm here to tell you, Maggie, this is, I'm trying to revert it because, so Maggie, are you going on to your hip replacement?
No, I have it already.
No. I meant, are you rolling onto your hip that is your injured hip?
Yeah.
Or are you using it? You're rolling onto your injured hip right now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Everybody rest for just a second. So Maggie, which side did the last side looked easier? The one you were just
rolled onto the left side, and my hip replacement is on the right.
So the injury is on the right, just like mine. However, so when I go on to this is my right side. You guys are going to be in reverse. This is my right side. When I go on to it, it is easier for me to go on to it than it is for me to use it. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Maggie, was that the same for you?
I don't know. I'll have to try it again.
Yeah, try it again. Everybody notice what side. So come
For
back.
me, it is, Leanne, because I had the bone graft on my right hip for my back surgery.
Perfect. So it's easier to
So
go.
it's easy. Yeah.
It's easier to
What
go
you said.
onto it than it is to rotate in it.
Yes.
Okay. But I'm here to tell you that even when you're going the easier way onto the injured leg is still very involved in this movement. It may not be as involved as the leg that's doing the pushing, but it is absolutely turning because it's a pelvis. You would not be able to lift the good leg, for lack of a better word, and rotate it at all if the injured leg was not participating at some level. Does that make sense? So don't, yeah, just know that. Know the injured leg. Now try this. Everybody put their right leg out. Because it's your right, Katerina, and your right, Maggie, and my right. So Kathy, you just are lucky you don't have a... Everybody put their right leg out. Okay, I'm gonna have to put my left so I can be the same as you guys. Now with the leg long and relaxed, the injured leg long and relaxed, push through the foot, push the belly out, and allow yourself to turn and come back. Very small. And if your face is tight, watch what happens. Stops the chest. Soft. And it's small. I can't even get my hand in there. I have barely moved. It's not about the distance. It's about the how far up the spine can you feel that movement.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It is not about how far does this pip lift off. It's about how can you feel this part of the spine turn, this part of the spine turn, this part of the spine turn. We want the whole spine participating so it doesn't take all the pressure in the injured leg. That's why the more you get really good at this, you can do amazing things even with a total hip replacement, a total bone graft, rods in, because there's more of you doing it than just in the joint. Switch legs.
You should hear me clonking.
Yeah, well, take your time. But it's the clunking isn't, as you know, not necessarily as long as it's smooth. It might mean there's just there's some air pockets that are just shifting it. Not air, but you know what I'm saying. There's movement in there. So push through the pelvis. How far up? How long at the back of the neck? But how soft can your face be? Your face is soft, but you push through the foot. Use the foot. If the foot is not being pushed on, you're efforting. I want you to use the floor and let it go. Use the floor and get tall. Much better, Maggie. I just saw your chest move, especially with the colors because they're separate and closing. Now, Kathy, just a titch more longer in the face. Strange thing, but longer in the face. Just softer with the face because there was a little bit of a jaw tension. Yes. Did you notice that difference?
Yeah.
Clavicles. So if you tighten your jaw, it tightens this. The clavicle, it tightens the next closest thing. Well, you can't turn something that's tight. Very good. That's it. Lie down and rest. It's going to be a two-parter, ladies, but that's okay. Notice now, is there more, a little bit more in the bum? Is there a little bit more up the spine of you letting go? Are you aware? Is there more awareness of your hip joints? If there's any pain, you just go way less or you just imagine the next one. Because most of us are so used to living in pain, we don't actually notice it until we stop, unfortunately. Anybody in pain? Good sounds. There was no sound. I'm here to tell you that what you guys just did was a huge amount of rotation in the hips and pelvis and sciatic and sockets. And that is normally just told that you will never do that again. I remember I worked on a woman that had both hips replaced and both knees replaced. And she was just told, these will not rotate in the socket anymore. They're just attached. They won't do it. And she basically on the table had her foot and sitting and was like almost facing the other direction. The arm went over the head and she was almost on her belly by the time. Injured areas can do very well when they get support from the rest of the body, when they get participation in the rest of the body. They're not on their own. And roll to any side you want to get up. And we're going to do something very simple. Much better, guys. Nice little ball there, Kathy. Nice ball. Kathy became, what is that animal that closes right up into
Hedgehog?
itself? What is
Hedgehog?
it? It's a hedgehog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kathy rolled over. And this was good. This is a good one. So she used her weights in space. She let this dragged, and this like just pulled her. Now she didn't leave the arm behind. She went like, whoop. And then she pulled right in. And the more you're in, the more forward the head is. It's so much easier to get up, isn't it, Kathy?
Yeah, it is.
It's just like you just whoop, and then you're up. There's a lovely picture. I'll try to see if I can find it. They did a slow motion movement of a German Shepherd getting off the ground, and he was laying, obviously, like a dog lies on the ground, and he actually, in slow motion, he pulled himself into a ball. I mean, not a ball, but if you stop the camera, he was levitated on the ground in a smaller thing. And then his tail went out, because his tail's the rest of his spine. His legs went out, his tongue went out, and that leg shot forward. And you have no idea he did that, because he does it in one fell swoop. But he was actually pulled in and like this far off the floor. Just from the action of, because he's got a long tail. So just from going, whoomp, he lifted himself right off the ground. Very cool. Okay. Any position that you're comfortable in. But if you can, sit on side sit. You can tuck under. Doesn't have to be here. This is very much just fun. And you're going to take your leg with your hand. Yeah, in any way, shape, or form. And you're just going to turn it and turn it. Now, before anyone cranks on their knee, notice what is happening in the rest of me. Turn it. And turn it. And
I can't really see either. Yeah. I
Sorry.
have to.
Either.
Let me come really close, but not so close that you can't see my leg. Here you go. I'm going to give you like a here down shot.
Okay.
So this does not stay sedentary, because if it does, you will torque your knee. Getting a hold of my leg, and I'm going to roll it back, and I'm going to roll into 6. Then I'm going to push my belly out and roll it just a little bit out. I'm actually rolling the leg. But this cannot, the chest must come down. That's why I said get into any position that's comfortable for you. You could do it this way if you wanted to. Push the leg, belly out, roll down. Push the belly out, roll down. You're actually taking the skeletal bone and turning it. But if that belly and that chest and the rest of the spine does not come into play, see, I've got little gold things here. You see how they glitter? There you can see them. Then they disappear. Then they're here. Then they disappear. My torso is moving. And so is my chest. And so is my head. And I'm actually turning the leg. And you can do it, like I said, in any position. It can go 1 centimeter. It's not about how far it goes, it's the quality. If the whole body comes into play, you don't need to go far at all. And you can do it with the other leg in any position you want. You could probably do it onto here, but that might be a little bit difficult. You're just saying, hello, hello. This is how people with knee, again, notice my my little gold things. I don't know if they're showing that they are here, but they disappear, then you see them, then they disappear in. I have a teacher, actually, do it with your toe. Do it right here with your toe. Turn the toe, the body goes up. Turn the toe, the body goes down. Turn the toe, the body goes up. Turn the toe, the body goes down. Use all the toes if you want. Turn the foot, the body goes up. See how you see my heel? And then you see less of mine. But it's about the rest of you. I don't care how far that leg goes. I care how far the top goes. The top part of you. And fiddle around. You can do this while watching TV all night long. The toe is a really good one because it's a gentle, but the toe is integral, as you all know. The toes, the joint of the toes start in the foot, and then there's like a bunch of little bones that come up in here, and they articulate right into the ankle, which goes into the leg. So you can turn the toes. You can literally turn the toe, but the chest must be coming along with. If the chest is sitting there and doing nothing, if you're just doing this and nothing is happening here, it's pretty irrelevant. And if you can't do it that well, imagine it. Imagine it beautifully. Imagine your whole leg turning and then turning and turning. You literally can do it fully in your imagination. And in fact, that's a brilliant thing to do again when you're sitting around. Just literally put your hand on your leg so you know and just play with it. Like just, I'm doing it beautifully. I'm doing huge, beautiful movements. They're totally connected. Okay, very good. Feel free to do that at home, even though you're at home right now. Feel free to do it when I'm not in front of you. There's a better way of putting it. Now, I want you to go back to the original movement. And I just want you to push through the foot. I don't care which one. Let's grab a foot, push through it, and just roll onto the other one. Push the belly out. Turn the side. Come back. And just see if you have more of an understanding, more of an idea. Do the other side. Push through the foot, though, and do not let that knee go down. Maggie, very nice. I'm not just saying that. I don't see you able to have done a lot of this work before we started. Like I would have seen a lot of this tight, not this. Now, just for poops and giggles, ladies, you know how I said to look in that direction, look, go with? This time I want you to do something different. I want you to push through the foot, turn, 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 but I want the head to go the opposite direction. And then come back to center. And then you can do the other foot if you wish. You push, instead of the head going with the spine, I want the top part of the spine to look the other way. And then come back to center. And you can stop and you can do it one leg at a time, but I want the spine, the head to go the opposite. And I want the eyes to go the opposite. So you're switching. I lost my grip there for a second. You're switching back and forth between feet, and the head is going the opposite direction, and it's at the same amount and same timing. You try not to do this. Push through. Oh, oops, turn head. It goes the same amount at the same time. If the head can go farther, then you do less with the head. You do the small amount. And then take it back and go with, and see if that little change allowed you to go farther, or at least easier. Because I don't really care how far you go. We're going to do one more one, and you're going to be like, you're going to feel like giving me the finger. You're going to push through with your right foot. You're going to turn your head to, oh, this is so hard to do backwards. So the head normally goes with, correct? In fact, put the other arm here too. So it's there. It's not kind of like doesn't know where to go. It's there. You're going to push through. The body normally wants to go this way. You're going to take the head this way, which is what we just did, but the eyes are going to go that way. And then they're all going to come back to center. So this is it. So you're here. You're going to push. Ah, I lost the eyes. No, I lost the whole thing. If you lose it, come back. So my head's going to go over my knee that's up, but the eyes are going to go the other direction. Doesn't mean the belly didn't push out. And then come back. Everything comes back. The eyes do not go far. The eyes do not strain. So, and a big hint is look at something and then keep looking and then come back. If you don't actually visually see something like the wall or the camera in front of you, it'll be virtually impossible to do it. So if everybody's looking straight forward, and you're going to push the belly out, the head's going to turn, and the eyes are going to go back the direction that you're going. And then you're going to come back. Does everybody at the very least understand what I'm trying to get you to do? Perfect. Switch legs and do it one more time, and then we're done. So again, you're going to push the belly out. The head is right away. The head starts to turn. The eyes start to go in the over the long leg. And come back. Head goes over knee, eyes go over long leg. And it'll really help. Don't strain your eyes. Your eyes will not make it all the way to your long leg. So the head goes over the knee. Eyes only go over the long leg. Eyes now, just Katerina, there you go. But Katerina, don't take your eyes too far.
Hey.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because your head's turned, so your eyes might just go back to the front. Does everybody hear that? Because your head is turned, your eyes don't go back to this degree and then over there. I know I said long leg, but it just is in that direction. Because your head is already turned. So this is now your front. So your eyes can maybe just go to the camera front. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, lie down. It's called a brain exercise. As well as body, because that's the same thing. Lie there. If you've overdone it, you might feel it now. Because like I just said, a lot of times we don't feel it. We're so used to moving not in comfort, whatever that word is, maybe not in pain, but in slight discomfort or awkward, that we don't even notice that we're actually, that kind of sucked. I'm going to do way less. Oh, that still sucks. Okay, I'm going to go right to my imagination. And a lot of times we don't notice it until we're still. So try to work on that. That's a skill. Be so moving with attention that you literally can be in the middle of hearing me give instruction and trying to figure out what that is, and then go, nope, not doing that part. It's a self-control, check the ego at the door, learn. You're here to learn, not necessarily do a back roll. So next week, we're going to put this, I mean, obviously you can do this into, this is function, but we're going to put it right in. I want that chest, I want the awareness of the spine to stay with us so we can go into rolling to get up and rolling to stand. Now I'm going to offer one more thing, and I don't even know if I can do it. And maybe you guys will all make the decision for me, because I don't know if I can do another evening. Would anyone be interested in doing 2 days a week?
No.
Okay, perfect. Not capable. Kathy or Maggie? I don't know if I am either, but
I think I'm good with the one.
okay. I just wanted to offer it because I know with the other group, I know the reason I wanted to offer it is because I know next week I'm literally I'm going to have to do a little bit of this to get us, because it's only once a week, right? You're not going to be like full aware of your spine when we start the lesson, but that's okay. And I'm pretty certain I couldn't leave Callum twice a week anyway. So very slowly, roll to the side. Think of the pelvis, roll all the things you've just been doing. Bring that arm, bring that arm, bring that arm. That arm, Maggie, I should see your arm long before that. Because that arm is holding you back, which will hurt your hip. Does that make sense, Maggie?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Use the weight of the upper body vis-a-vis the arm to bring yourself over. Sit for a second, then slowly soften. Here's a little hint for next week. Slowly go into school. Roll the legs, take the legs, staying in round. Place the foot down. Doesn't have to be over there. It can just be here. And undo yourself. Or whatever the hell you have to do, because you don't know what the hell you're doing yet. In standing, just be for a moment. Take the time to be in standing. Go right on up. I know I'm just going to see your legs. Doesn't matter. Notice yourself, your sense, your color, your whatever, your hips, all the stuff you just did. Notice that in standing. It's a different mode. Feel your belly. Feel your hips. Feel the length of your spine. Turn your head slightly left and right. See the freedom in your neck. Because if your lower spine and your middle spine are more alive, those tiny little vertebrae in your neck don't have to work so hard. Even though we didn't work on the neck, a lot of people get freedom in the neck when the other parts of the spine decide to join along. There was one other thing I wanted to say, and I don't think I remember. Oh, I do. If for next week you could find a space in your home where you have a little bit more room, I don't know if that's possible. But I don't want you to do a roll like this and then be like, I can't keep going because there's like a bed here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you can. I didn't want to tell you now. I wanted to tell you now so you could think of it and see if there's a place you could find a little more room for next week. That's it. That's all. I will send this off tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Wednesday is usually the latest I get it off, and we'll go from there. And Katerina, if anybody wants anything, if anyone wants any lessons, Maggie, I know that's a little tough for you.
I just don't know. I'm pretty booked, but I might get in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know.
Drop
if we
me a
can.
text. Yeah, drop me a text. We can always figure something out too, you and I. But
I'll see how-
hopefully that helped the SI joint.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I feel
Yeah.
much better already.
Yeah. Beautiful.
For sure. Thank
But
you.
we are open. It's in case I never told people. I think I did, but we are open. And I think that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
I'm going to go paint Maggie's top. I'm not even kidding. I am. I'm staring
Make a
at it right
picture.
now. Pardon me?
You can make a picture.
I'm going to. I'm memorizing the colors as fast as I can. I love it. See you later.
You can